Welcome to Q&A.
Drunken.
There seems to be a bit of confusion about this. The people don't exactly know when Lilly is actually going to be produced. I have said it a few times. If you just want to buy it normally, then it'll be out on the 10th of December. It might take Barnes & Noble a couple of weeks to get it in on the shelves. And some stores you may actually have to order it in. However, if you pre-ordered the book through the lilith.com.au website, just click on the store link, it'll take you there, then you'll be able to get Lilly on the 1st of November.
Drunken, losing ground.
Lilly is a story of redemption found and lost. That's the tagline, so it doesn't really help you understand. The old myths was where the story of Lilith came from. Lilith is the combination of three mythological characters. The first is Lilitu, who is either one person or a race of demons who used to eat children and give people wet dreams. The second is Enlil, who is the male counterpart to Lilitu. That was most definitely a single figure, and he was a storm demon. If anything bad happened to you, if the crops failed or there was a war or something, Enlil was probably behind it. And the third figure is the one which most of Lilith is taken from, is Ardat Lilly, or Ardet Lilly. The pronunciation we're not really sure. In fact, if you take her name, which is Akkadian, and put it into Mesopotamian, then you get the word Lilith. So it's from her we get the most. And she's a really creepy figure. She was cursed by God, and then she's the one who seduced Samael into invading the garden and getting Eve to eat the fruit. And the whole fall of mankind into sin came from that moment. So yeah, she's basically the harbinger of doom. However, she's got three figures, Sinoi, Sansonoi, and Samangeloth, who are the so-called medicinal angels, who are chasing her and hunting her down. And Ardet Lilly eats children. She doesn't in the book, but that's where the myth's coming from. And basically, if there's a circle with the names Sinoi, Sansonoi, Samangeloth, and the words Out Lilith written in the circle, then Lilly isn't allowed into that room. So, taking those myths and moving into the modern era, sort of, some parts aren't modern, you get this story which I have, which is the three angels hunting down these three others, Lilitu, Enlil, and Ardet Lilly. And the story mainly focuses around Ardet Lilly and her experience with running like hell. Pre-ordering is probably something I really want you to do, and it's something which you may or may not like. It's basically for collectors type item. Firstly, the pre-order book has a different cover than any of the others will have. And secondly is I'll autograph each of them.
Drunken.
Yeah, I did mention that I spent some time with the vampire cult, which people kind of get weirded out about. I mean, vampirism, covens and so on are usually about sex. Whereas the cult isn't quite. It is, but it isn't. If we forget modern religion, if you go back to the old stuff with the Greeks, the Romans, etc., etc., the way to be with the gods was through sexual intercourse. So, yeah, that was how they did their massive church services. They were big orgies. And vampire cults are an extension on that. Basically, they take the idea of all of this interest in vampires and add a religious significance onto it. So with the Lilin who I studied with, who are actually taken their name from the descendants of Ardette Lilly, and they believe that they are true descendants of her, most of them, married in quite a few, and etc, etc. Basically, they believe that all vampire covens and all of that are really shallow. They're amateurs and imitators, and basically it'd be like comparing... If you're comparing them to vampire covens, the normal type, then you'd be comparing lookalikes to actors. So it doesn't really fit together for them. The High Priestess is the one I spoke to most. They have this whole theology around who Lilith is and her acts in the real world. Because she is still a figure, though she's no longer quite physical. She's more of a metaphysical being that can visit you in your dreams, etc, etc, etc. Kinda creepy, kinda not.
Drunk and losing ground.
No. I really like to give you more of the book, but it doesn't really work with my publishing agreement. I've had to push the limits to get you what you have right now, so that's not about to happen.
Drunk and losing ground.
Personally, I've never really liked it how people always have to have werewolves with vampires. None of the myths really include them together. It all really started with Bram Stoker's Dracula, when he got normal wolves connected with the vampire. But werewolves developed on from there, and they intermingled, and now entire society's crazy about them. I won't have werewolves in Lilly. That being said, you need to keep an eye out, because I will say that I have a Kruznik, a Russian thing which is a lot of people compare to a werewolf, but I wouldn't, because werewolf person turns into a wolf when they want to, or wolf form, which is kind of humanoid. However, a Kruznik is different, because it's from an older religion. Basically, the body goes to sleep and the spirit leaves it and becomes a wolf. So, think Native American style things happening there. But look out for the Kruznik, because it's a bit of a big deal.
Drunk and losing ground.
The legend of Mirren Wilt, the guy who became Merlin, isn't exactly related to Lilly. Though I have included Mirren Wilt, the guy who inspired it all. However, Cambions are. Cambion is part demon, part human, better than both. Incredibly powerful most of the time is the idea. Someone who can bend reality to their will. Though I haven't gotten that far. But the Cambion and its power has always been part of Ardette Lilly's story. There's one of the legends around her is that near the beginning, Michael, the Archangel, came after her with his army to wipe her out because she had created a Cambion. He wasn't actually able to defeat Ardette Lilly because she had a Cambion. However, out of respect for each other, because they'd known themselves from before the fall, Ardette Lilly gave up the Cambion and Michael took it on as a sort of protege. So, Cambions are connected, and that legend I just said parts of it will be stolen and put into Lilly. But you'll have to wait and see. I've tried to add RSS a couple times, but I've always had issues with server-side includes. It's all technical jargon and boring. I'm working on it, but I wouldn't look for it in the close future.
Drunk and losing.
Who am I? Yeah, that's a big question. I'm someone who liked writing. I wrote all through high school, and I used to write boring, tiny short stories in primary school. I could never really write until I read one of my friend's books, which she stopped working on and has started again after a couple of years, and may or may not end up getting it published. But I got writer's block after a while, and rewrote one of my old stories, and it got picked up and published, which I was like, yeah! Very exciting to actually get a book published. Since then, I've published 4 more. I've got 2 coming. I've got Lilly and the sequel to my first book, which I got published. So, I'm not a very well-known author. I mean, 4 books, that's nothing, and because I don't actually publish in the US, I'm not available to get it reviewed into the New York Times listings and so on. They only do US books, which is annoying. But yeah, so I've published 2 fantasy books in one series, and I published a compilation of short stories, and my first book, which I published, was a sci-fi, which is the Unit Army books, which the sequel's coming for. And Lilly is back into the fantasy genre, but not quite the way I've done it before. It's more historically fantasy. That doesn't make any sense. It's fantasy based in the modern world rather than me creating my own world to put it in. So, I don't know who I am really. I'm an author, I'm a writer, and I'm a tech ed at times.
Drunken.
So just a reminder again, for the release dates, if you pre-order, you'll get it on the 1st of November. If you didn't pre-order, you can buy it on the 10th of December. However, Barnes & Noble say they can take up to 6 weeks to get it onto the shelves, which is bleh. But you can always buy it straight from the website, which I provide, because print on demand works really well.